Well, happy Sunday, everybody. Happy Fun Day Sunday. And hot. Very hot for those of us in the Southwest. I don't know how you guys are doing, but got up
Kentucky
to
was nasty.
we got up to 107 today out by us. So yeah, it was pretty warm today.
Thanks.
And we have
It wasn't that
one
hot.
major
Just so
fire
humid.
burning near us right now. The Robbit fire is about 5 miles north of us. And of course, I've got a fly in the studio. Never fails.
We've got the Canada fires blowing on us here.
Oh yeah, that's true. And I'm assuming those are still burning, huh?
Yeah, judging by the smoke.
So we had quite the eventful last couple of sessions.
Yeah.
Here we find ourselves at the end of a first part of our journey. The team had successfully dealt with something quite unique. While those that lead the Gnomeworks were using both their wealth and their influence to dig for something called the Heartstone. Unbeknownst to them, other things had already been set in motion in parallel with their own attempt to find the Heartstone. These other things, unfortunately, they did not realize. But the team as a whole had decided that whatever was going on at Thane's Reach needed to be dealt with. And with that, by giving the creation stone back to the Shadow Guardian of Thane's Reach, this freed up the opportunity for the Heartstone to be retrieved. However, without the ceremony being done the way that it was expected to do, the Heartstone and the Fire Titan could not fully come into existence. And with that, the cratered gate to the plane of fire could not be fully sealed. So as the team came back down into Thane's Reach, ruinous remains, and found the survived chamber, they began to try to figure out how to undo what had been done. Not having understood fully, they at least knew that if they tried to forge the key, force the obelisk to then reverse the effects of the crater, and therefore possibly either pull the Fire Titan back or to use the Titan creator as a way to understand how the ceremony could be undone, the team did the best they could. And it just so happens it turned out quite well. The team managed to even get a particular mousefolk druid involved as well, and facilitated and helped in the defense of the ceremony while the team forged the key, placed the key in the obelisk, and then began to do the unmaking ceremony of the 4 elements that the Titan Maker once used to bring Titans into existence before the period of founding. The Shadow Guardian, still gone, although their whereabouts unknown. The 2 remaining simulacrum of the lizard folk individual that was trying to ride the coattails of the Gnomeworks and find their own purpose in all of this, seemingly embracing possibly Mason in this process. While this team managed to defeat and contain chaos, they were given boons and favors from the Titan Maker. And even though one of 2 probabilities of dealing with the Titan Maker, as well as being a child of the gods, this was kind of passed over with a bit of hubris. Preferring to remain firmly rooted in the reality of how important Exandria is now versus what it was once before, a world worth fighting for. The team find themselves back in the Underdwell. Oh, take that back. Find yourself back in the Temple Spire up on the cliff regions of the No More capital. And when you came back, you found yourself greeted by someone that you thought had passed on. As the High Prefect, and I believe her name, just had her up. Where'd it go? The temple. Sorry. The High Prefect Hilda Neray Aldid, who we thought originally had been killed, is actually still alive. Everybody go ahead and click off a long rest, please.
Right on. I don't think I rolled my HP. Now that I'm looking at it, like I don't think my HP changed.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Because we didn't roll it at the end last time.
No, not
Yeah.
this time we didn't. That's true.
Let me roll my HP real quick.
Oh my god, this fly's gonna be the death of me.
You need to
It's
get one of those-
literally like I have this huge studio and all it wants to do is sit around me.
you need to get one of those salt shotguns and just sit there, you know.
Now with me, I'd roll a natural 1.
I saw a great meme of the scene where Gwen Stacy falls, and it's a nat 20 for the web catch and a nat 1 on the strength save.
Oh, that's funny.
It's terrible, but it's also funny.
The 4-story spire of the Coral Finger, you find home once again, but things have dramatically changed over the course of the last few days. Upon your return, you'd learn from the High Prefect that after a successful ceremony of bringing her back to life, it was determined after she learned of the missing Mannheim to remain secret, to remain as if she was dead, to draw out those enemies that had caused all this. She is still unsure as to who her attacker was, but she does confirm the suspicion that perhaps it was Mason before he had fled deep into the volcanic ruins and took both Magdalene and Devon with him to try to find whatever he was seeking. The government of this city has been dealt with. During the course of those 2 days, almost whether through fortune or bizarre divine intervention, depending on your belief, Vasselheim has taken an interest in this island. A great fleet of Vasselheim ships had arrived within the last 24 hours and began to descend upon both the Underdwell and the upper jungle regions of the cliffside facing of Gnomework City. Taken into custody the majority of the guilds that made up the kind of magistrate organization. The Underdwell given free rein to not only no longer have to live down there, but gradually receiving both financial support and medical support from many of the Vasselheim belief systems, whether it's the Temple of Cord, the Wild Mother, more importantly, Bahamut. But with an already established High Prefect here of Helm, it's not too surprising that as part of her way of getting you guys caught up while you've been gone, Prefect Hilda Neray had already reached out to a personal friend of hers, someone that you're expected to meet this morning, only they haven't arrived yet. The city is a joyful chaos of those that were in power being dealt with and those that have come to oversee the gradual restoration of what Gnomeworks was always intended to be. It was a crossroads of creativity, engineering, and free trade amongst all of the different kingdoms that have agreed to allow it to flourish in such a way. Zen, if you stand out on the overlook of the Coral Finger, looking down into the busy city below. Crowds coming back and forth, watching as the different independent ships are leaving off on the horizon, and down in the harbor, seeing the dozen or so flags of Vasselheim and Isilra kind of giving that comfort that things can change. There's almost a celebratory atmosphere, although some people don't even know why they celebrate. While the High Prefect could see and sense the need for the team to fill her in on as much as possible, she merely stated, wait a few days. What you're involved in is known to some, not known by most. But I have a friend arriving soon who I would like you to tell the story to. And that rings in your ears, Anna, the idea of the interest in the story of what you and your friends have done. It was a tearful victory. The fading of the volcanic eruption off in the horizon receding, but an entire community wiped out in the process. The challenge of any organization is you may not always know what they're doing, but if the pay is good, how can you not feed your family, live your lives? It found out that well over 1,000 people had lost their lives in Thane's Reach. Most bad, depending on your perspective, but some just carpenters, toolers, miners, people just working for an organization that they never quite knew what they were doing. With that information, that was what caused the High Prefect to reach out to Vasselheim to make sure that this doesn't happen again, that no more can rebuild itself, get itself back on the right path, and maybe seek support from other kingdoms that prevent this from happening yet again. The guilds banished, the Isilra flag flying over the magistrate quarter for now. The majority of those that were involved, either in the Keepers, the Watchers, or the Thunder Shroud, all kind of dealt with, or in the process of being dealt with. But for now, as you stare down at the crowds of people, it's one of celebration as an impromptu kind of carnival has begun to just spontaneously come into existence. Celebratory feasts appearing on the streets, kiosks of good wishers and purveyors of the local kind of artisan work, seeing the very kind of sallowed-faced gnomes, either the young or elderly, mixing with the crowds that had once thought that these were people that were just simply gone, but here they are. The orphans and those that used to run amok through the streets, stealing what the community needed down below. The community down below completely abandoned, but there's an itch at the back of your mind, Alexa. Where did Sibo go? Where did her companion go? What happened to them? Did the volcanic eruption take them? And you remember being shown that vision by the Titan Maker. Vision of the two simulacron meeting with Mason, and then eventually walking aboard his ship. Although, since your return, you have yet to be able to find any of the flagships from the Dwendalian Empire. They all seem to have either left of their own accord, or if the blockade means anything, it would seem that Vasselheim is comfortable with the fact of isolating this island until things can get sorted out, as the High Prefect stated. But the streets beckon with the sign and sounds of celebration. The near destruction after that volcano initially began to erupt, the rumors of a strange, fiery creature about to descend upon the southern area of the city, or of the island, ran rampant for the first day of that activity. But then lost to the thought of superstition and unknowing of the facts at hand, what the team had done to secure the safety of this island. You stand there, looking out on a morning that you thought would never get here. A comfort level to not having to wear your helmet and cover your face. Well, the High Prefect has yet to be able to share with you why this statue was here, why the connection to your physical form, why all this was here. It's a bit of a silent understanding of fate. Because if there's any mad fuel for the gods, it's fate. Fate is the small area in between hope and failure. It's the fates that determine outcomes. And the words of the High Prefect in your mind as she says, perhaps this was just fate. Coincidences of the gods should never be questioned. Giving you both a gentle touch on the shoulder and kind of a half smile. While all the organizations are a bit chaotic right now, there's a calm to this. You turn to come away from the overwatch of the fourth tier of the coral finger, looking down on the exterior to look at your friends. Earthen kind of lounging about, reading his books and trying to do more investigation, convinced that volcanic gases sometimes play on the mind. That obviously what you guys experienced was a hallucinogenic effect of a near miss of a volcano blowing up, and gods would never bother with people such as yourselves. Spot sitting in a chair, playing with Punch's tail, and just kind of relaxing, with a bit of knowing in his own playful mind that a little bit of what he thought was true may actually be true. Puck beaming with a sense of hope after hearing about the Underdwell being released from its imprisonment, this class system, this incarceration of poor versus the wealthy, the control and power that the copper keepers, copper takers, copper makers used to use on this society is now gone. Big banners of Viscera flying off in the distance on the ships. It was hard saying goodbye to winter. It was difficult. About a day after your return and the beginning of the group's recovery after what had happened, she had decided to travel back to the Fae. Saying her goodbyes, but perhaps she'll be back, she wasn't certain. But she needed to visit some folk, make some inquiries. All of this activity on Gnomeworks had got her to thinking about a long distant past and details that needed to be rooted out. But for now, the four of you sit lounging in this very nice room that you've been upgraded to, care of the Isra Authority that is now gradually taking over Gnomeworks. All four of you hear a gentle knock at the door.
Well, come in.
There's a click of the handle, pushes open. You watch a 3-foot figure walking into your room. Long brown and grayish hair spilling over very well-crafted plate mail armor. Centered over her chest, an emblem of Sarenrae. kind eyes, crow's feet in the corner, someone who's seen quite a deal. It's Pike. Comes into the room. Quite old now, since the incursion of Vecna and the stabilization of what some would say one of the greatest threats to the existence of Exandria. Believed to be the last of a famous group, as most of them have gone in their separate directions or found themselves on missions yet to return from. Some to this day say that Grog and Scanlan had decided to go back to a particular space that Grog had gone missing to for quite some time. Scanlan just couldn't help himself. But they never came back. Pike was okay with that. She stands there looking at the four of you. I've heard a lot about you guys.
Erthen falls off the couch. Like
come in.
You're
I'm a halfling, yes. She winks over at Puck.
you're Pike. Trickfoot? Pike? The Pike?
Sure, I guess. Got anything to drink in here? I'm kind of a morning drinker. I had a friend of mine that used to make mimosas. Do you know how to make those?
Oh, Spot, you can do that.
What's a mimosa?
just put something in a drink and make it taste good. And
preferably orange juice.
Oh, okay. I mean, do we have like fresh oranges here? Like, I mean, I'll look at carnivore guys. Okay. I'll go off and just like start making up something. Like Spot has absolutely no idea what a mimosa is.
He watches. Within a few moments, the high prefect comes in. Oh, good, Mistress Pike, you're already here. Yes. Well, now I think would be a good time for you to fill us in on your little journey. Pike looks up at the prefect. Sounds a bit more than just a little journey, prefect. Yes, sarcasm, Pike. I practice it too. And the two of them just kind of share a laugh and walk over to a fully loaded breakfast table that had just recently happened after you guys woke up. And you begin to gather around the table. Pike sits up. Well, maybe you could just start from the beginning. I find that the easiest way to understand things.
Well, all the way back in Rexentrum, I was taken there after my village was absorbed in the Empire, and
that's a little too far back, Bod. Maybe focus more on what happened on the other side of the island. Just start there.
But it started here.
Some of it started here. The prefect has already filled me in on part of the information that took place here. I am more intrigued as to understand what exactly happened over at Thane's Reach. What went on there? Not much there now.
The volcano erupted. Something came out of it, very big and on fire. And we put it back. I think. We put it back, right?
I mean, I think.
It closed up, like it sucked into the thing and it all closed up. It's gone, right? I think it's gone now. Yeah. But
well, your young friend here with the mark of hell on it has a rather strange look on her face. Mistress Zenith?
That's so impolite. She just looks like that.
Earthen.
Is that your RCF, your resting cleric face? He watches Pike goes, I've got an RPF. resting paladin face, and she goes,
The the volcano erupting was not the place it started. We found our way to the Underdwell, and we learned about a creature sealed beneath the island, a betrayer god called Erebus, who the lizard folk
Zahir.
Zahir.
Erebus is our dragon buddy guy.
Zahir. Okay, all right. We found a betrayer god named Zahir. The lizard folk perform a ceremony every 100 years to keep Zahir sealed, which we assisted them with.
Pike stops you for a moment and looks at the High Prefect, and the High Prefect, as we discussed earlier, Pike, the understanding of other cultures' superstitions were always important for me to keep an eye on. The lizard folk, led by an individual that goes by the name of Sawtooth, although we have been unable to track him down recently, they perform a ceremony on a place called the Obsidian Gate, where they are convinced that's what keeps the creature hidden away inside, contained, if you would. Okay. I mean, continue. Sorry.
While we were there was some pretty weird shit happening.
We've had direct contact with Zahir. Puck has had contact with Zahir.
She doesn't like to talk about it.
Yeah, he watches Pike stares with a bit of interest and incredulity over at Puck, and then smiles warmly. Is this true, Puck?
We think so. He never identified himself, but it seemed based on the words of many others and prophecies pertaining to the situation that it was Zahir, and that he was trying to reach out to any kind of vessel that could help release him, and I was sacrificed to him, which that's the part I don't love talking about.
I wouldn't blame you. I've been in some pretty strange situations myself.
It was really cool, though. Before the sacrifice part. Giant undead dinosaur thing.
Glaring at him.
Fire. It was really cool. Well worth a story. I'm working on writing the song.
I see. I'm guessing Earthen is a bard. So I guess my question to all of you is, do you still believe that any of this is still a threat? Is any of this still a threat here? Has this been contained, in your opinion?
Do you have you heard the name Serafel Hammerfell?
I am aware of the belief of the Titan Maker, yes. The stories about him, or it, depending on which side of the story you believe. How in the world a motorcycle can get that much noise that high up to her is just fascinating.
Right. We found Seraphel's tomb, and may well have just say we spoke to Seraphel. And if that whole thing was real, then we're not done yet. Right, Xanth?
Yeah, I mean, I think we may be done here, but the threat is moving. There's a man called Mason. He visited the temple, and he seems to now be collaborating with Bazarus. There's another lizard folk.
There's two.
I think they're headed through the Veil.
You think they're headed towards Shattered Isles, then?
With great confidence. Seraphel speaks of a great beacon within the Vale.
A lighthouse.
There's a lighthouse. I know those there are those on the ship that we were brought here on that have been through the Vale and seen the lighthouse before. And if the stories are true, 2 of them were cursed by whatever magics were at that lighthouse. But Seraphel told us our next quest lies at the lighthouse.
Interesting. And what did this Seraphel say about that?
He Can I roll insight before I answer that question?
Sure.
Just to get a look.
Can I give the help action
Sure.
or guidance or something?
I'll say like the 2 of you stare at each other like, where are we going with this conversation? So
I do not trust the high prefix.
Pike's asking the question though.
Oh, I want to make an insight check on the prefix.
Okay. While Pike's doing all this Q&A.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's that with the help, the guidance or whatever? What do I get for that?
Plus a D4.
Well, that's better. That's a 16 for insight.
And you're doing insight on the prefect, right?
I was doing insight
on the prefix.
I was doing insight on Pike.
Okay. And you want to do insight on the prefect, Zenith?
Mm-hmm.
Go for it.
I rolled and I got a 30.
You got a 30?
Yeah, I got a nat 20 plus 10.
Jeez.
We are finally like super insightful.
No
we
kidding.
we learned our lesson
Yeah.
by trusting so many people so long.
We've been betrayed so many times.
I would say for you and Pike, Earthen, she's definitely holding information back. It's almost like she's validating things that she may already know through her questions geared towards you guys as a group. That's a really high roll, Zenith. The only way to describe the look on the High Prefect is one of concern. Extreme concern. Like she's staring at Puck as she's interacting with everyone, and she just has this overwhelming look of both concern and fear on her face.
Looking at Puck?
Mm-hmm. While Puck is talking.
Oh, at Puck, not at Pike?
Sorry, at Pike. Sorry.
Okay,
All the
gotcha.
P's and the halflings all
Right,
run
yeah.
together.
You know, I
was like, what's going on?
I guess technically Puck's a gnome, but you know.
What now?
see. I started to go like, wait a minute. She knew Puck died. She's concerned Puck's alive. Hang on.
She's looking at Pike with extreme concern and fear.
Yeah, like she's going to maybe tell you guys something she doesn't feel she should. Is what it feels like.
We met supposedly primordials while we were there.
By the way, you describe everything. It's not all that dissimilar from the histories that we study about the creation myth.
Well, those from the island were trying somehow, some way to control one of them. He had the form of a dragon, but once repaired was not a dragon. But he disappeared. I don't know where he went.
Sounds like all of you have had a bit of fun and adventure then. I mean, you mostly look alive, I think.
We watched everyone around us be vaporized.
Yep.
Yesterday.
Yes, things reach does not.
It doesn't exist.
Yes, it's unfortunate about what had happened there.
Except the
Again-
tomb. The tomb did exist. Everything else was gone, but the tomb was saved.
About that, we haven't been able to find any evidence of the tomb that you've described.
Good. I wouldn't want to send anyone else there.
Fortunately, I think I believe your story. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to find or figure out any way to corroborate. Not to say that we don't believe you. I've been talking with the prefect about what to do with barely a handful of survivors from Thane's Reach.
You have magics. You have your ways. Cast it and see if we tell a lie.
That's not really the point of magic sometimes, Earthen. I accept and I'm okay with the explanation that was given. I have no reason to disbelieve your stories, your information. I'm just trying to get a feel for whether or not it's safe to maybe explain a few things. He watches. Pike looks over at the prefect, and the prefect just kind of shrugs her shoulders. First of all, we took the captain's crew into custody.
Alexander and McClintock and all those guys?
Yes, we have them safely under lock and key for now. They're being well treated. They're
Good.
giving us their side of the stories.
They were good people. Mostly. The captain's gone, so they were good people.
Yes, we'll come back to that in a moment. My bigger concern is this Wanderman Assembly. This individual searching for the blood title of the family in order to open a vault from time past. This was the original mission that you were on, wasn't it?
I'll pull
It
out
was.
the tag, the Wanderman crest that we were given.
Do you still feel like this is something you want to continue?
Spot just kind of raises a paw from the background where they're still working on this trick. I'm game. It just like doesn't even look back.
We're definitely looking for the guy, if that's what you're asking. And I like glance over at Puck.
How much do you trust this with you, Felderman?
As much as we trust her kin.
Not at all.
Good. Then we're all of the same opinion then. What do you know about the fog that lies around the Shattered Isles? What have you learned about that?
We know that it's difficult to pass through, that it creates visions and seems to drive people mad, and we've learned possibly about a way through it.
It's the fog is a remnant of whatever happened at that created the teeth, and it's very powerful. Not arcane magic necessarily, but it's very powerful magic. I believe the intention was to protect the area from further incursion.
And how do you plan to proceed?
Take out the bag of residuum that's now 1 pound lighter and open it up.
Fascinating.
We were told of a way that there is a certain type of instrument that can be placed on the bow of a ship that can, with this powder and other functions, can guide us through the veil. The guy that told us that also tried to kill someone, but
Trust is not an easy thing earned, is it?
no.
All of you should be proud of yourselves. You did well. I will secure a ship for you. I'll secure a crew. And I think the Sarenrae Temple would like to fund the remaining of your expedition. For now, you may operate under the guise that you're continuing to look for a surviving heir of the Wanderman Assembly. For now, with the Felderward, will remain your patron. However, I suspect other dealings are at foot. You watch as Pike stands up and starts kind of pacing the room a bit. The prefect sits back down to kind of pick at her plate. The world is a very different place after things like this happen. When the Chroma Conclave tried to take over Taldoria, and then in turn, when Vecna tried to ascend the great city and succumb Vasselheim to ruin, the world never really stays the same, does it? Things change. Either out of fear or complacency, we still find ourselves here so many years after defeating Vecna. We still find ourselves on the edge of chasing things that we don't quite understand. I believe your story. I believe what you tell me is true. And I'm inclined to agree that the threat, while contained here, may be playing out somewhere else. One of the great myths of the Shattered Isle is that it was once a continent of its own existence. A great catastrophe occurred during the period of founding. And ever since then, even pre-Calamity, pre-Arcanum, sat behind a shroud of impenetrable magical fog. There's always stories of one or two people being able to get through. Scanlan used to talk about it all the time, but I never really believed him. One particular island in amongst this fog, we do have some information on. It's called the Dragon's Breath. It's the largest of the islands. Scanlan and a small group of Whitestone explorers managed to penetrate the Veil, learn a great deal about it. While most of their party were lost, Scanlan and two others were able to come back. It changed him quite a bit. That's when him and Grog decided to go off on their own little adventure for a while, and we haven't seen him since. The thing about the Veil is that you're quite right. It's dangerous. But it's dangerous for reasons I'm not really sure we know why yet. Scanlan said that the madness traversing it was so severe and so difficult, he struggled to maintain the understanding of himself, if not admitting he had lost a bit of himself in it as well. The island is populated by a people that have not changed since period of founding. Great travelers of the ocean. They are called the Nordai. They populate all of the islands in the Vale and live a very tribal but natural existence with the world. But what's interesting, they do not worship gods there. They worship titans. And each of their tribes are organized around the different titans: earth, water, fire, air. They call them the four pillars of the world. the very foundation of creation, built on the backs of these titans. And they, while different tribal names scattered throughout the Shattered Isles, are very much resolute in keeping themselves isolated. So be wary. Some can be trusted. Others are quite violent, quite very much insistent on their isolation. The Dragon's Breath Island, I believe, is the one that you're looking for, because Scanlan did describe a strange structure built atop a very large mountain that's centered in the middle of the island. While they were unable to penetrate deeper into the island before they had to flee, know this: that veil is not a door. It is an undefined separation between our world and something else that we cannot quite understand. I believe that when you pass through this fog, what you're experiencing is the overlapping of many different planes of existence. It might explain why some people that manage to survive passing through and then back out again go quite mad. When reality collides with other realities, it can have its effect. Pike stops for a moment to think about her next words very carefully. I will let you in on a final secret about the Isles. There is consensus among the different highborn and highbearers of Vasselheim that the true known location of the Celestial Gate is in the Shattered Isles. After listening to your story and speaking with the High Prefect about other things that have been happening, I believe this is Featherward's true intent. I think she seeks the gate.
For what purpose?
Well, it is said that those that can find the gate of divinity may have access to the unending of the world, unending power, the ability to do whatever they want, travel wherever they want. And that perhaps his beacon might be tied into this. Well, the details I'm still working on, but there are some in Vasselheim that agree with this. We have come across many threats before. This threat feels more vicious. Something else underlying its purpose and intent, and can't quite figure out what that is. I know of this Mason person. They are a person of interest that somebody is looking for, so be wary of him. He's dangerous. Very dangerous.
Don't we know it?
Who's looking for him?
Let's just say someone who has a very specific interest in seeing to that he's dealt with for what he's done. Witch hunters can become zealots very easily. And this particular witch hunter, Mason, went a little bit too far on some villages within Dwendal. And there are some people in Vasselheim that would like to question him about what happened and to deal with him accordingly. See a very hard, kind of angry concentration on Pike's face for a moment, and then she begins to soften again. So, a vessel crew and a purpose.
Might we bring Alexander along with us? Maybe McClintock and what was that goblin in the chef's name? Spot? You remember?
I don't recall his name. I'm sorry. I don't think I have it in my notes. But yeah.
I've got him in here somewhere. I was just
Yeah,
seeing
it's a while.
I don't know if we want him. He was pretty gross. The food was.
I mean,
What? Did what I could.
Sorry. I think kind of, Spot's been kind of in the background hanging out. And I think now's a pretty good time for me to just kind of stroll up and just slap Earth on the back of the head. A mimosa is sparkling wine and orange juice, and you motherfucker didn't think to tell me. I've been back there for 15 minutes.
man, I don't make drinks. I drink drinks.
All right. Miss Trickfoot?
You just call me Pike. It's okay.
I mean, should okay, whatever. Anyway, I was curious. There's some people in the Underdwell that I don't know them very well, but I feel like not in a kinship with. Do you know what might happen to some of the Domfear gnomes that were created against their will? Are they going to be okay in this? Are they being looked after? Or
I believe Pike looks over at the prefect, and the prefect stands up. My understanding is they have chosen to take over the Underdwell and live in their own seclusion. They are not going to be hunted or wanted by us by any stretch of the imagination. So for the most part, I think they just want to be left alone for now.
okay, that's what I was hoping. Just kind of.
Well, actually, there are two people I would like to ask you about. The first one being somebody that is still within the confines of this building, I think. So are we in the temple?
We're at the hotel.
You guys are currently in the
Oh.
Coral Finger.
Yes.
Yeah.
A nearby building then, which is a small goblin that seems to have come in contact with the prophecy of the light tower some time ago and have lost his mind subsequently.
Yes, I believe we could take care of that for you. He's only being held for his own protection. He had gone quite mad.
Well, in light of some of the changes that have happened and his clear connection to it, I think it might be worthwhile checking in with him again and also seeing if maybe there is some kind of way to help him. And the second one is somebody in our ship. I believe his name was Pliny.
Peroni.
Tony.
Peroni.
Let's say disappeared under less than savory circumstances pertaining to the merfolk. And if you happen to know anything about the merfolk and people who disappear through them, I think that's something we want to know more about. And
Well, I believe you'll be able to ask them yourselves. Isn't that right, Pike? Pike kind of looks at all of you. Ah, yes, that last part of the conversation. The merfolk and those that you encountered are what we call the Watchers of the Veil. They are the ones that allow people to either enter or exit under whatever pretense they use to gain access. Some tell of rumors of a city on the back of a turtle. Some tell rumors of other accommodations made for those attempting to penetrate the veil. I leave that up to you.
Is there any were sharks with those merfolk?
Fire sharks. Those creatures haven't been seen for quite some time.
Like a couple of weeks. Yeah, sure.
actually, I think we have a name of a potential were shark.
Is
Yeah.
it
Gore something. Sorry, just one
Gorgrim?
second.
Yeah, Gorgrib.
Yes.
Puck and Puck and the prefect exchange glances for a moment.
Pike.
Are you sure the name was Gorgrim?
We're
Pretty
pretty
sure.
certain.
Huh. Well, we're familiar with that name, but it's the translation. Gorgrim is actually a merfolk word for the changer, is what it means. And our understanding is that that's also a personal reference to the Stormlord as well.
What?
Gorgrim is the name of the changer, a champion of the Stormlord. Changer of fates. If you encountered a were-shark that was using the name Gorgrim, that's equivalent to saying that they refer to themselves as a champion of the Stormlord.
He was with the merfolk that were guiding the boat. But he was also involved with those aberrations that yeeted Spot off the mast.
Aberrations. What do you mean?
They were ugly. They were not merfolk. They came from the water. They hit really hard.
They had the diamonds.
Yeah, that's right. The arcane diamonds in them.
At this point, sorry,
Do you still have one of those diamonds?
No, I gave one of them to Sibo, so she might. I mean, she's not around right now, but.
All right,
Do you have some spot?
yeah, just as we're trying to describe the monsters that gave me out there, I just kind of want to. I think this might be a good instance where I kind of like lean back and just concentrate on it, just like, and all of a sudden an image of one just kind of pops out, like from where I got touched in the forehead. I'm going to use my silent image ability unconsciously to project an image of one, just to kind of be like, whoa, jeez, what's going on?
Yeah, those
both
things.
Yeah, like both Pike and the prefect kind of shocked by what they just see. Oh, fascinating. So did it look like that?
Several of them.
I don't know. Where's that coming from? Because that's the picture that's in my head. I don't know what's going on.
You watch as the prefect comes over and stares at it and then looks back over at Pike. It kind of looks like them, doesn't it? Pike gets a very kind of like deep scowl on her face. It looks a lot like them.
Whatever them are is who the sacrifice was made to. That's where our friend Peroni is now.
Then we can assume at least one thing. It's quite possible that the merfolk may be in chaos. There might be a play going on for control of the merfolk. That might be why we haven't been able to contact them for some time. I've been here 2 days now, and I've been trying to reach out to one of my contacts there. I've had no luck. My hope was to get them assimilated onto your ship, and that your ship could just kind of make its own way into the Vale without other people knowing that you actually made it into the Vale. I'll have to rethink my next plan.
Do you happen to know a merfolk named Stormy?
Afraid not. It's not familiar to me. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, he's one of the merfolks that were alongside our boat when we got here, that was following our boat.
Oh, yes. They ride whales, I believe, is how they guide people through. That's right.
Just speaking of, I haven't really seen them, since like first or second day here. But there was a traveling group of Tabaxi. Like, this sounds like something that they get a kick out of. Can you? I don't think I got names in any of those guys.
Well, I'm sure a group of Tabaxi in this community could be easily found once you set your mind to searching for them.
just gonna say, like, this sounds like the kind of thing that they might want to get in on. This sounds fun.
Yes, fun. All this is quite fun. Well,
Is that not why you guys are doing it?
and Pike looks up. What do you know of an old one they call Ukatoa?
Would we know anything about Ukatoa?
I'm free to give a history or religion check if you want.
Okay, sorry. History. Oh God.
I got a 9.
9!
Yeah, that's what's being dealt.
What'd you get, Earthen?
Oh, I didn't roll.
Okay. You
I
feel free to if you want to.
You said history or what?
History or religion.
Oh, well, history, yeah, because I'm not a religious guy. But 13.
13?
I got a 14 on religion. Apparently, my D&D Beyond is just being super slow right now, so I don't know.
Not surprised.
I was looking for the name of the Minotaur barkeep. I was digging through because I knew we were almost there. Because Spot was looking for his Tabaxi friends, and she would know.
Yeah, she would.
There were Stormlord worshippers. I got that note down.
Yep. Well, those creatures you described that attacked you aren't all that different than followers of Ukatoa. Ukatoa is, some say myth, some say real, depending on your point of view. But hopefully we're wrong. And they're just creatures that got involved for other reasons. And it's fine. I'll do some more research on this when I have time. Pike stands up. Well, I have to get going. I'm going to let the prefect fill you in on the details. I've got a place to be in the next couple days. Good work, all of you. Good work. Just be aware, not everyone's going to understand what you did. Those that understand when these situations arise, sometimes the more heroic action is letting people think that their lives are just going to go on as usual. Not always easy. But it was a pleasure meeting all of you. Good luck. He watches Pike grabs her cloak off the peg, puts it over her shoulders. There's two very kind of like heavily plate mailed individuals waiting outside that kind of flank either side of her, and you can hear them walking out and then slowly descending the interiors of the Coral Finger. The prefect watches them, or watches her leave, and closes the door. Well, that was interesting. I was a little surprised when she arrived yesterday. I had hoped to give the group a little bit more time to recover, but unfortunately, that may not be the case.
Just kind of beat over to Earth and who was that? I know her name, but like, should I know who that was?
Imagine the greatest paladin you could ever imagine, right?
With the unfortunate luck of always going last.
Yes. And that was her. You just met her. I mean, you know Vecna, right? You've heard the stories of Vecna? Okay, look, the library is over there. I'm certain the prefect has plenty of stuff in the library. By the way, Bovina at the bar might know where your Tabaxi friends are if you're still looking for them.
Oh, cool. I'm going to go check on them.
Bovina, that's right.
It took a few, like, it was in the margins. It wasn't in the actual. I was like, I know I wrote this down.
all of those.
It's Legends lore. I cast Legends lore on my notebook and found. Prefect,
Yes.
have you heard from Ribbles out of the Underdwell? Has there been any talk of a Ribbles Ironhide coming from the Underdwell?
Yes. He's one of the more personalities that we're working with to get the populace of the Underdwell reintegrated with society.
Yeah, he was on the council with Sibo and others.
Yes. Unfortunately, we've been not able to find Sibo.
I know. We've lost contact with her as well. If possible, though, I would like to get a thereabouts of Ribbles, so I may speak with him a bit.
Well, I imagine if you... I'm having to open up old notes that we haven't mucked around with for a while.
Well, I mean, the last thing I said to him was, let's take over Gnomeworks, and now he's involved with taking over Gnomeworks. So I was going to go check in with him and be like, hey, imagine seeing you here.
I mean, he might be over at the temple overseeing some of those that needed a little bit more assistance than the others. So he could be there.
Okay. If you're heading back to the temple later, I may just follow you.
I actually plan on lingering here a bit and speaking with some of the Vasselheim folk about some activities we need to keep in mind. So when do you think you and your friends will be ready to go? I will take care of finding out how many of the old crew that you mentioned would still be available to you.
If possible, that might also be something good to do, to speak to the old crew ourselves before we really go all in on that decision. I mean, right? Yeah, like look at Xanth.
Yeah, I think most of the crew is out at the know, but I would want to talk to Alexander at the very least.
Yeah.
We're not bringing Gribbets. We're just not. No.
I mean, he could be your gopher in the kitchen.
Do you fucking trust Gribbets?
Look,
no, you don't, Earthen.
just because there was a shit bucket there that he could take it from is the only reason he kept using the shit bucket, right?
That was awesome. I forgot about that.
The food got better.
Did you notice when you hesitated? That's a no. That's just a no.
Got a point.
It's a pause for emphasis.
No, it wasn't. Look, man, I might not be a smart kitty, but I know when I'm being lied to, and that was a goddamn lie.
Hey, you were learning how to cook from those guys just as much as you were like cooking for everybody.
I'm gonna poison your next meal. I mean,
Going to oversalt it.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Eating all this like wonderful stuff was a big improvement over your last meals. Not your fault. You had a minimal stuff to work with, so I'm actually excited once you get supplied up. What we're gonna have to work with moving forward. But it was nice to have bacon and eggs and cheese. Oh my God, cheese!
I'm sorry I don't keep fragile, delicate, eggs on my person to cook in the field. Like,
If you wouldn't eat the chickens, we might have eggs.
I don't eat them raw. What? Just turn around in a huff and smack him in the back of the head with my tail.
I think we'll be ready to go by tomorrow, right? If we can talk to people today. Seems like this is time sensitive.
Yeah.
Any chance you know what happened to Mannheim?
Yeah. He's no longer with us, with the living.
She holds up her hand. I understand. It's unfortunate. Well.
Why do you ask?
Mostly out of curiosity, I think. You worked for us.
I'm going to roll insight on her.
Roll insight. He worked for us.
My God. My
He worked
God.
for us previously, and we were sad to see him to go into decline. When he was taken, well, we weren't sure why he was taken. What'd you get,
Well,
Earthen?
A 13.
15?
Did you edit
Have a-
before?
Oh, no, but I have about a 15. I have a plus 11 to insight, okay? So that's how
I
bad the
mean,
roll was.
she seems genuine and concerned and happy to know. Well, happy to know there's closure.
So we may have we tried to get him out, but he wasn't there. Our agent that went to get him out got there and he wasn't there. So, but we do know that he was, however, he was removed. He was removed by the copper takers and copper makers, and they tortured him until he died.
Well, we will add that to their list of guilt, and they will accept their fate accordingly.
Has anyone tried scrying on the leadership of the copper takers and copper makers?
Oh yes, we have them all in custody.
They were very near the site of the explosion.
We found them near the remains of Thane's Reach, to be honest with you. I don't know what means they used to escape the volcanic eruption, but we found them and took them into custody.
Those are
They will
very
be dealt
dangerous
with.
men. Those are very dangerous men. I would
say they are dangerous when they have their wealth.
I would keep a healthy load of salt nearby.
Strange. Okay.
Any of your guards that go to visit them, I would stay as far away as possible and have lots of salt on hand.
Very well. Strange request, but I'll see to it. Well, if you need anything, seek me out over at the temple. I will be working with the Vasselheim fleet and getting things under control.
Actually, if you are going to the temple, I have been meaning to visit the goblin. I might as well go with you.
Very well. If you could just give me a moment, please.
Of course.
Where are the crew being held, by the way? Are they held at the temple as well, or are they held somewhere else?
No, they are being held in the bastion.
Okay.
I'd like to, if I can, I'd like to catch the High Prefix right after she steps outside the door.
She actually looks at you and kind of gives you a knowing glance as if she wants to talk to you.
Okay.
And it's almost like you both look at each other like you're going towards her. She's turning to like start a conversation with you. You both kind of just give that head nod and you step out into the corridor, closing the door to give you a little bit of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
Still no answers on why you look like that giant statue, is there?
That confuses me.
Or why the statue looks like you, or why you look like it.
Or why, when I spoke to Helm, he questioned whether there were any clerics of Helm on the island.
This happened during one of your communes.
It did.
Interesting.
Do you speak to him? Does he speak to you?
Commune is always a unique way of interpreting and interacting with the higher powers that do what they do. They do act in strange ways at times. That temple and that statue are older than anything on this island. Anything here. Before the city was built up in the cliffs, the trees, and the harbor, and all the activity that began here hundreds of years ago. The best that me and mine can figure out is that statue predates the period of Arcanum, and roughly around the time of the ending of Founding. Somewhere in there. Some of my best scholars have even interpreted that you are a fate. Well, some call it a fate, some call it an oracle, some call it a divine presence, an avatar of the gods. Some just call it coincidence. The only other thing on this island, I didn't want to mention it in front of Pike because I didn't feel it was a rabbit hole worth going down. But some say that the Obsidian Gate is as old as that statue. I'm not entirely sure why that is. I'm not entirely sure why any of it is what it is. But we don't always know why they do what they do. Perhaps all of this has brought you here for a reason. Still yet to reveal itself.
How long ago did you come to this temple?
Not too long ago, maybe 20 years ago.
And was it already established as a temple of Helm at that time?
It was not. It was a ruin. It's in disrepair, decay. It was being used, of all things, storage for the harbor, for construction equipment. Over the last 20 years, I've accepted scribes and acolytes and students who come to study about Helm. And they have helped in return by restoring the great temple back to its former glory. That statue, up until about a year ago, was covered in half of the jungle growth that was up here.
What was your purpose when you came here? Was it to restore the temple?
At first,
No one winds
it
up
wasn't.
here. Why did you come here?
I don't know. A calling?
From who?
One might say from him. I sat in commune one evening and distraught. And I wasn't sure what to do. I was losing my faith, losing my belief. I pilgrimed to Vasselheim, stopped at the Serenray Temple, was fortunate enough to have a very long conversation with Pike. She said a good friend of hers said that sometimes getting lost where no one could ever find you is the best way to find someone else who never intend to find anyone but themselves. And I found myself here on the very edge of all things. Secretly helping the underdwell, eroding the power of the copper takers and copper makers that were here, doing whatever I could to keep others informed of what they were doing. Not really good at the spy thing, I have to admit to that. Cost me some friends, but it also offered me an opportunity to understand, a chance to meet you and your friends.
I think that like Xanth has maybe been hiding this and we probably haven't shared it. When we saw Hammerfell, he gave us a choice. He gave us a creation heart and he told us that if we put it in the gate, it would release the gods back into the world. And I told him no.
Can I be rolling? Can I be? Are they outside where we can't hear, or
Correct.
Past?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's something Earthen would definitely kick the door down to stop you from saying.
Yeah, but she's out in the corridor speaking directly with the prefect.
That's why he was very specific in not mentioning it.
Yeah. Give me persuasion, Xanath.
Okay. I think she has a really guilty conscience and she wants someone at the top to tell her she did the right thing. That's an 8. I'll do guidance on it. I don't think it's going to help, but all right, it's an 11.
Okay. She staggers back from you a bit. Looks at you with a very kind of blank look of shock. I'm not inclined to believe or disbelieve anything that people have when it comes to their conversations of divinity, whether it's your voice in your mind, your commune with your entity that you believe in. But why so quick to not take that opportunity? What made you feel that saying no was the right answer to make?
Everything I've been taught is that the gods sealed themselves away because that was the way to seal the betrayer gods as well. That they were separated from us by their choice and not by ours.
This is a common understanding of the 9 divine. 9 divine for the 9 betrayers. Their great sacrifice to save our world, seal them off from through the divine gate, and guaranteeing that the betrayer gods and the titans could never roam Exandria again and do harm. I don't know if there's a right or wrong answer here, Zenith. What do you think would have happened if you would have taken that offer from the Hammerfell?
I think if we had made it to the gate, we would have released the gods. We would have released all the gods.
Interesting. So it wasn't as if he offered you anything other than just restoring things the way they once were.
He said it would be a world that was new, but he said, he acknowledged that the world would suffer.
Not unlike the original teachings of the creation myth then, huh? When we are born, we rely on others to take care of us. As we grow, we crawl, we walk, we run. Then as we get old, we slow down. We look at things differently, and we find ourselves looking back on our life and wondering if we did something wrong. Xanath, do you feel you've done anything wrong?
I think we had a second to make a choice, and we made it. And I think it was the right one, but it was such a huge choice that it's difficult to sit with it.
It is very hard to look at things in such a way to know that the end of it, hope is still an ongoing outcome of your choice. No one can feel or understand what you went through other than yourself. That is a burden you will have to carry for the rest of your life. There's just no way around that. But you have friends. You have friends that traveled with you when you did this. You have friends that still travel with you even now. Those people that sit inside that room. They didn't ask for anything. Spot, although kitties can be strange, especially tabaxis, they seem to seek out the most adventure they can find for some strange reason. Of course, and Puck and Earth, and I feel like your fate is intertwined with all of these things. And without them, you may not have been able to make that decision. Because of them, you probably did.
I wouldn't even have found my way down there by myself.
Fate is a very interesting thing that we all must come to terms with. Some of us have mastered magic. Some of us have mastered divinity. Some of us have just mastered the ability to hide from the inevitable conclusion of our lives, one way or the other. Whether in a bottle, in a book, or in just the natural exploration of the world. Hide, run from it. Run from your fate. Yours is tied to you and your friends, Zenith. I feel as if you were tested. And I think you passed. The question is it the final test?
I can feel that there's still more to do.
I think you're right, and I'm going to help you find this path. I'm going to give you a book that you must never share with anybody, no matter how tempted you might be. This is something that has not been taken from the vaults for a very long time, and I had to expend a great deal of effort to get my hands on this book.
What is it?
Promise me you will not panic when I give it to you. I need you to make that promise.
I promise.
Insight check. All right, liar, liar, pants on fire. She reaches into the folds of her robes and pulls out a small tome, about the size of your hand. And she hands it to you. The title, with a kind of silver inking on the cover. Second of Angels. And then at the bottom, Keeper of Lights. And a very kind of like inked image painted on the cover of the book. It looks just like you. This tome is over 500 years old, Zenith. It tells the story of the second angel of Exandria. Some would call her the second fallen of Azamir. It is believed she was the first of all oracles. The first one that purposely fell to warn people of the calamity. Well, the book isn't as old as calamity was when it occurred. This book was written by an individual of great faith. The first founder of Helm. Some said to be the first champion of Helm. And through the word of the first oracle, the second fallen, I believe their influence started here.
On this island?
It's the only connection I've been able to find to that statue. Whether or not the island plays a direct role, I'm not entirely sure. There is a fate here. Because you can't help but look at the friends that you're tied to. Puck, willing to almost instantly lay down her life for you, but yet haven't really known each other that long. Earthen, clearly a devout disbeliever of anything other than what he can see on his nose. And Spot, pure chaos. Absolute, pure chaos. There are reasons why people gravitate together like this. I feel like we're nearing the end of a sentence that has never been finished before. This book, your friends, and your fate are tied into this somehow. Be cautious. Do not lose this book. It's the only one that exists. But I feel like it's important that it should join you on your journey. Maybe help you reveal things. The Shattered Isle is neither a bad or good place. It merely, to me, I don't care what Pike says, is a place lost in time. And that worries me. If there is evidence that the Celestial Gate can be found there, she looks extremely worried, then it's a secret that no one could ever truly know, Zenith. If you believe that what you told the Hammerfell was true, and you do find the gate, in whatever form it may present itself to you, consider it your responsibility that no one ever know where it is. Ever. No matter how painful the outcome might be. She just kind of leans in, gives you a kiss on the forehead, and I hope we'll see each other again, Zenith. But my augury tells me there is a hard road for you. And for that, I apologize. But I think it's important. All of this feels very important. Maybe we'll see each other before you leave. Puck, do you want to come?
Earthen falls through the door. He's like,
God.
Oh,
Puck,
door
you
was
said you
stuck.
wanted to travel with me to retrieve your goblin, correct?
Yes.
Come along, I'm leaving now. Good to see all of you. If you need anything, I'll be at the temple. With that, let's go ahead and take our 5-minute break. When we come back, we'll do the second half. Quick break.
All right, kitties.
You want to go outside? You want to go outside? All right, let's go. Let's go outside. Let's go outside. Come on. Come on, let's go outside.
We are back. Wait for everyone to get back from their break, and we'll see what life has in store.
I'm off camera just doing a couple of chores, but as soon as everybody else gets back on, I'll be right there.
No worries. Red versus blue. I love red versus blue. It's one of my favorites.
Classic, right?
Yeah. The conversations they used to have, just so good. So telling. Yes. So telling.
I mean, it's probably been, 10 years or so, and that's still just seared into my brain.
Yeah.
10 years. Come on. It's been longer than that.
Probably longer than that. Yeah. I mean, it got popular during first Halo, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Exactly. So we're talking almost 20 years ago now.
Yeah.
But no, just that first season, there's so many things that are just seared into my memory. Simmons, I want you to poison Grips next meal. Oh, I do it too.
So true. So true.
All right. So, sorry, my Dickensian orphan needed to make himself known to the rest of you guys.
Oh.
Floof.
Is this Charles?
Yep, this is Charlie.
Oh, Charlie, hello. He's so cute. Look at his little mustache.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got like a black muzzle, like right on the very front of his mouth.
Yeah, that's kind of why he's got that, because he's got
the originator of the mustache.
Yeah,
as opposed to the other famous guy with that mustache.
Yeah,
we're going to talk about that other guy.
I think we call that infamous. I don't know about famous.
Right.
Is it a Charlie Chaplin reference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
that's really cute.
Yeah.
nice.
I guess it's better than the Tramp, huh?
That's his sobriquet. But yeah, he is absolutely a Dickensian orphan, and it didn't take him literally 4 days to go from a street urchin to a spoiled house cat. Although you hear him tell it, God, your claws are sharp. You hear him tell it, he is the most neglected child there's ever been.
Poor thing.
Well, my pup met her pup cousin over the weekend, and it was interesting.
Oh, did they get along?
He is the friendly. He looks like a feral pig. I mean, he's huge. I mean, his head is bigger than my head.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's huge, and but he's not that tall. He's like a squat guy. He's a mix of a pit bull and an American bulldog, or an English bulldog. Like yeah, he's a hoss. He probably weighs 100 pounds, and he's like 3 of her, right?
Oh my gosh.
He's not that much bigger, like height wise, than she is, though. But yeah, she was not a fan. So he was like trying to be friendly and everything. He's never met a girl dog like that close before, so he was very curious. And yeah, I mean, by the end of the time, like she was snapping at him less, but she doesn't normally bark. She doesn't growl. She doesn't do any of that stuff. And that's all she did while we were there. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You never make these sounds. What's going on?
What was the name of that goblin?
Oh, let me go look.
God, really getting in those year ago notes that are.
I know, right? I
My
thought he was in
non-existent
my
note.
NPC notes, but he might have been one that I adapted because of your role.
Wiggums von Scheidt.
Oh,
Wiggum.
that's right, Wiggums.
Yes, it was Wiggums because the
He-
von Scheidt is a play on his goblin heritage.
Huh.
Wiggums is with shit, is what that means. Von Scheidt.
Harsh.
I used to have
So Puck is
yeah.
going to go with the prefect over to the temple. So she's currently gone. Spot, did you want to go track down Bovina to see if you could find where your Tabaxi friends might be?
Yeah, I want to do that, and I have an errand afterwards that I want
Okay.
to do. But
That'll leave Earthen and Xanath lingering behind in the room as everyone else kind of goes to do their own thing.
So what was that all about?
Yeah, I wanted to question her a little more.
Get anything good?
She told me a little bit more. She told me a little bit more about what she knew about the statue and what she had heard about the founding of the temple. I think it was helpful.
You still look concerned.
She's so focused on this idea of fate, like our fates being interwoven, which I know you think is crap. And I obviously believe in the gods, but I don't know if I don't know. I don't understand why my face is here, why it's been here for so long, what any of it means, if it means anything.
Look, it's not that I don't believe in the gods. The gods abandoned us and left us here. I believe in us, in people, and that when enough of the right people take their action, the right things, the good things happen. But all that has to also be done with measure. So that's why I was going to go find Ribbles. Because before we left, I talked to him about what we might do to bring balance back to this island, let's say. It looks like we managed that on accident without involving the Underdwell. But I believe in us. I believe in the five of us. And I believe we're all trying to do the right thing. But I'm not trying
I agree,
to hide.
I think. I think, whatever, the gods left, the gods sealed themselves away, the gods were sealed away. It's only people here now. Looks like this island might be a pretty sweet place to live in a couple months.
Yeah. We got some stuff to do before then, though. Well, you ready to go track down the crew?
Sure, let's do it.
Off to the Bastion we go.
Okay. So Xanath and Earthen heading towards the Bastion. Spot tracking down Bovina. And Puck heading over to the temple to see what she can find out about Wiggum. Spot, as you head down into the busy mid-morning breakfast crowd, you see Bovina, the big minotaur behind the bar. She's prepping bottles. She's got a keg that she takes off her shoulder and sets it down behind the bar, and big hammer. She taps it and sets it up in the rack. And oh, hey, Spot, haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, it's been a couple days.
Yeah, it has.
It's been kind of interesting. Hey, I'm sorry to bug you. You remember when last I was here, there was a group of, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 other tabaxi. Do you ever get their names or any idea where they might be?
Didn't get their names, but I'm sure they'll be back tonight. They've been here every night since I saw you.
Okay, all right, cool, thanks. I'll see you tonight. I'm just gonna kind of tip her and head on my way.
That is the strangest tabaxi. Takes the coin, puts it in her small leather pouch. Where else would you like to go?
I was gonna go. I think it was reasonably close. I was gonna go to the Temple of Timora.
The shrine.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Heading towards the shrine. You retrace your steps back to that alleyway when you initially had that run-in with one of the underdwelt orphans. But now that you're out here mingling in the streets, you definitely get the feeling that things have changed a bit. People are not as fearful, not as worried. They're moving about with smiles on their faces. And it's always fun kind of knowing the real reason why, but whether or not this could just turn into a crazy tabaxi story versus the truth is always something that hinges on the edge of reality for most tabaxis. Not to say that tabaxis are great liars, but if anything, they are amazing at telling both fiction and nonfiction without realizing that they somehow blur the line in between the two.
I will have you know I've been scrupulously honest to the party members.
The team is always on your mind. It's interesting, this journey so far. You look about the busy streets and then find yourself down a familiar side area, familiar alley, and there's the little abandoned temple. This little tiny, minuscule compared to most chapels and temples that you might find of Timora. The half-open front door, the windows still boarded up, the front garden abandoned.
I'm gonna kind of just go up to the front door and just, not, I won't say casually, but push it open without any kind of reservation. Just, I'm not trying to make noise, but I'm also, I'm doing it in a way where, I'm not afraid of any, or I'm kind of at peace, essentially.
You step in, sound of the city kind of behind you. The door opens up into a very different looking space. All of the internal detritus and rubbish of the abandoned interior has been cleaned up. A small little stone altar has been put at the far end of what would be a very small vestibule that you would walk into. There are maybe a dozen small wooden chairs lined up in an organized way. And then a door opens off the side, creaks open, and a very elderly tabaxi comes out of the side. Oh! Why, I'm afraid you're a little early for service, young man. Wasn't planning on doing anything until next week.
I didn't know that the shrine had been reopened. I was just...
Oh, well, it never really closed. We just kind of operated under the guise of abandonment. We didn't want to deal with the copper takers and their ilk. But I can assure you, there's a healthy population, that likes to pay Timora the kindly visage they deserve.
Timora's been good to me this last week. I should have known that when I was last here, but I just wanted to stop in and pay my respects. She, as I said, Timor has done me a solid these last few days.
Like what? What did the fates bring you?
Well, we managed to seal a primordial fire demon into I don't know what, and I'm not dead. So
Cats don't have thumbs.
I'm Tabaxi. I think.
And behind him on the altar, just this female goddess figure, kind of in leathers, but the face is always a distortion of itself. Well, fate does work strangely for some of us, I know. So you're alive because you believe Timora had her eye on you, perhaps?
I don't know. The gods are inscrutable, but it can't have hurt. I've been a devotee of hers for many years now, and I don't know. I don't know if my offering to her is what might have tipped it in my favor. I don't know if it was the cat lord that watching out for me, but this felt like a good thing to do after that. There's so many times I probably should have died this last week, but still here.
It's good to be alive, isn't it?
Yeah. Haven't punched that card. Wait, just looks in there. It's like, nope, 3 punches left.
Only 3?
If you ever feel inclined to get a little advice from an old tabaxi when it comes to fortune and fate, I'm usually here.
Oh, sorry, I've been traveling with, some other humanoids. Oh my! I want to actually. I need to be around you guys more. It's such a weight off.
You're a very strange young man. Go away. I'm just kidding. Thank you for the offering.
I just kind of want to take a peek around. I'm not actually going to do anything with it, but is my spear that I left here anywhere, is that moved on?
You don't see it anywhere.
Just kind of smile, do a quick. I just kind of look at Rick. Is there a space where I can sit down and meditate for a moment?
Yeah, he kind of. Oh, just come right over here, of course, and clears away a couple of the stairs or chairs and puts out a couple pillows on the ground. Kind of gives you a safe little space to kind of begin your meditation. Puck, walking alongside the prefect is interesting. You're having a similar experience in the roads and streets of the busy Gnomework city. The mood here is very different now, very changed. The prefect kind of looks down at you, almost not too dissimilar from an adult staring at a child who can't keep up. Am I traveling too fast for you, Puck?
No, not at all.
Okay. I know, the streets are quite busy right now. What is your plan with young Wiggum, if you think he's worthy of release?
I don't know if he's ready to be released, but he certainly, let's say his version of events has been exonerated to the point where he might be worth revisiting. It doesn't seem like he has just lost his mind. It seems like something very important is locked in his mind.
Very empathetic of you. Did your experiences require any help either? Do you feel that your mind is okay, Puck?
Oh, I mean, as okay as any of our minds at this point. Haha. Ha.
She's like, she looks at you. There's a moment where you feel like a tingle, and then a sigh of relief on the look of the prefect. Oh, it's your wit. You worried me there for a moment. Anyways, if he's better, I mean, one might assume that if he is linked to the circumstances of the island, have you had any dark visits or any nefarious visions since your last time?
Not since the here seemed to, or whoever it is that we assume to be him. Not since he was sealed. For a while, it seemed like he was just trying to find an open mind to inhabit. It's unclear what's going on at this point, but you're right. If it got better for me, who's to say that whatever has happened can't also affect Wigan and that he can't be helped at this point?
The two of you are now walking over that huge bridge that will take you over to the temple and then up. You can't help but stare at that statue. It's creepy. The likeness, the familiarity of it.
And I just kind of walk around, see if the eyes are following me.
Creepy.
Well, from Puck's perspective, it might be.
Oh, that's what you look like. I mean, it wasn't me that said that. Ike said that. I tried to cover.
The prefect kind of catches you staring at the statue. It's a strange coincidence, don't you think?
It sure is. I mean, I don't know that anyone has seen anything like this before. So maybe it is coincidence, but not a natural coincidence.
Perhaps. She leads you past the statue, up the stairs, into the entry chamber, into the main chapel. Excuse me, Peter, if you come here for a moment. And excuse me for a moment, Puck. I will check in on Wiggins. Give me one moment. She moves over, has a brief exchange. Well, you can find Wiggum over in the eating hall. He was let out this morning.
He was.
Yes. Evidently, since whatever happened a couple days ago, he's gotten his mind back.
Oh, goodness.
Peter, take Puck here over to the eating hall, would you? I must attend to other duties. Peter will find you to the eating hall. Good to see you, Puck. And she kind of just walks off towards a busy group of cloistered individuals. Peter comes over, guides you deeper into the chapel space, then through a hallway and into what feels like a very kind of monastic kind of eating hall where you collect your food off the tables and then you would sit at these communal tables and eat a meal, and a common tray of food would be passing up and down the length of the two tables. And sitting in amongst, there's enough space, so he's not next to anybody specifically. There's a very thin, gaunt-looking goblin with ear and nose piercings that he had from before, wearing a very simple white and green and blue robe of the traditional helm coloration. His little feet swinging on the stool, like the big bench sitting. He's not much taller. He's as tall as you are, so his feet dangle. And he seems to be enjoying his breakfast, not really paying attention to anything.
Wiggum?
Oh, hello. Do we know each other?
Do you remember me?
Boy, am I supposed to? I don't mean to be rude, but I've been ill. They tell me I was very ill.
Yeah, I spoke to you while you seemed to be not quite yourself.
Oh, when I was down in my chamber then. Where they were keeping me. I do have to apologize. I don't remember much, if anything, when I was not quite in my own mind. I apologize.
Do you remember what had led you onto your illness?
Not really. I remember I was making some inquiries I don't really remember the name. I I'm sorry, it's hard for me to remember things. I remember falling ill and coming to the vestibule to seek help. They put me in the hospital, and I remember waking up this morning inside my chamber. That's unfortunately all I can remember. I don't know what else to make of it.
Do you mind if I tell you a few of the things you told me back then to see if it strikes a memory?
Of course, I think that might be helpful for me.
Okay, I'm going to cast Detect Thoughts.
Surface, or are you going deep?
I'm going deep
Okay.
to the.
Does have exhaustion, so he has disadvantage. I rolled a 19 and a 3, so you're able to push through because he's got disadvantage. So his outer thoughts are pure chaos of not remembering hardly anything. But as you push through that noise into his deeper thoughts, it's almost like tapping into an empty vessel.
Oh,
Almost as if his core memories have been wiped out.
you told me you went to help your employer into the jungle.
Why would I go? Oh. And then there's a spark in that detect thoughts, something coming alive in the void. And there's an image of him talking to Mannheim.
You told me that he asked you to retrieve a red apple, or a red fruit that resembled an apple, from a tree. And just as you almost reached it, you fell down, and you fell down a tunnel or a well of some sorts.
There's suddenly a spark of a memory of a campsite below him, a very stern-looking Mannheim telling him to be careful, and him climbing up into the boughs of a fruit tree, a tropical fruit tree, and trying to pull something from it, and then suddenly him falling into a lava tube.
You told me that when you came back to, you were in complete darkness. And you started to walk through the dark caves, and slowly you started to hear a voice calling to you.
The memory of somebody terrified, alone, lost, and then a gentle voice leading him deeper into the undercaverns. Memories reveal themselves strangely. These feel more like emotions. But then there's an image of a figure sitting in a chair.
You kept talking about skin, something without skin, something eating the skin.
The figure in the chair reveals itself more in the memory. They are undead. They are skeletal in appearance with stretched, paper-thin skin. Kind of wearing tattered remains of robes and clothing that maybe once looked very fine, very upper class, but now they look devoid of their color and they look very tattered. But then there's this smile on its face, looking at Wiggum as his memories are slowly being pulled from that void. Begin to notice fear in his eyes, a sense of panic beginning to overtake him.
And you spoke about light and darkness, and something that will happen when the beacon will be lit, and someone who will return when the beacon will be lit.
I'm starting to remember. A creature in the chair. I feel as if this thing has not been truly revealed yet. I was lost down in those catacombs, those old warrens, for days. But its voice always calling me, always guiding me through the dark. Being a warlock, I've gotten used to talking to voices in my head. Sometimes that's how we get our power. I never actually met where those voices come from, so I just assumed maybe I had finally reached my zenith. I had finally obtained power enough to where the voice in my head had allowed me to see it, and maybe I was going to achieve some great reward. His voice lost to you as you stare at the figure. In his mind, his memory, kind of solidifying around this figure. This isn't the maniacal interference that you remember. That felt more shadowy, more disconnected. This image is something that has been waiting and plotting for a very long time. This image feels cold, cruel, and finally revealed to you in the sense that whatever they were hiding behind before was a ruse. Whether or not you want to believe in the Obsidian Gate or returning the Fire Titan back to its plane of existence, the chaos of the Guardian felt different than this figure that you're staring inside the mind of this poor little goblin. I lost myself there. Are you okay, Puck? You seem distracted.
I'm listening to you. I'm sorry. It's
Oh,
a very upsetting story, and I'm sorry you had to go through it.
why do you ask all these questions of me, Puck?
Well, your maddened, let's call it maybe prophecy or experience, seemed to lend itself to something that has happened and something that might be still of danger to a lot of people. So anything you can remember, as painful as it is, could really change a lot.
Give me persuasion with advantage because you still got detect thoughts on and you've penetrated deeply into his psyche.
10 with advantage.
I remember a single word at the foot of the chair they sat in. I don't know what it means. I speak common okay, so it's definitely written in common. The word was Wanderman.
Wanderman.
It's a strange word. I think it was maybe the name? I don't know.
Did it say anything else?
I just remember it penetrating my mind, using dark thoughts of my own making, my own fears, to drive me quite mad. But this morning I woke up clear of head. My memories, thanks to you, now slowly coming back. I don't know anything after that, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Thank you so much. I know this was very difficult for you. I hope this helps you a little bit get back on your feet. And I give him and I give him 20 gold.
Oh, thank you very much. This will help me a great deal. Are you sure you're okay?
Uh, yeah, yeah. How about you? Since you've come back to yourself, have they been treating you right?
Well, I mean, I like noodles. They feed me those. I enjoy them. There's a moment that he stares at you that one eye is drifting slowly off to the left and then recenters. They're still fixing me, Puck. I'm probably gonna be here for a while.
Well, we're gonna be leaving soon, but if you want to find me beforehand, I will be. You can you can talk to the head priestess here, and she'll be able to call to me.
Oh,
And
okay.
here, and I give him one of my. I don't know if I have them on me. One of my homing pigeons. I still technically
Sure.
have.
Like you reach like a magician, you reach into your the underside of your tunic and pull out one of those small pigeons.
Like in your
Yeah.
robe the whole time.
Yeah, and like you set the pigeon, and he's all, puts his finger down, it crawls on his finger, and sets it on his shoulder. It's good to have friends. Thank you, Puck.
Of course. And if you ever need me, you can. It should be able to at least maybe find me. Well,
Okay, Puck. Thank you.
we'll try. Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna leave now and see if I can go to the library because I know there were a few books that we were looking at before our fight with Mason. Maybe I can
Okay.
find something.
Okay, so you head off that direction. Xanath and Earth, and you find yourselves heading out of the Coral Finger down towards the elevators that'll take you down the cliffs and into the harbor district. And then off to the side of the harbor district is a 2-story stone structure half built in to the cliff face here. And it just says Bastion above the doorway, heavily guarded by what's now Vasselheim forces. The sergeant kind of stops the two of you. Is there something I can do for the two of you?
Yeah, we have some acquaintances who may be kept inside. We'd just like to check in on them, see how they're doing.
Their names, please.
Well, there's Alexander, McClintock, Gribbets, O'Brien. No, that one fell off the ship. Who else? Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody.
The crew of the captain's spirit is who we're looking for.
Oh, that lot. Just a sec. Kind of opens up the heavy door and
Kindred
goes inside for a moment.
Kindred spirit. Yeah, right.
Yes, the kindred spirit. Boy, it's been a while since you guys been on that ship.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have to be the cook, okay?
How mean is it though? If we're like, we want everyone except for Gribbets.
Actually, I think it was Snibbits.
Oh, Snibbits?
Yeah, I think it was Snibbits. I have it down as Snibbits.
Okay.
I have
Yeah, it was-
Goblin Snibbits, O'Brien,
The cook.
Jameson, Alexander.
Jameson, that's the one that Winter was flirting with.
Yes.
Peronis, who went overboard.
Yep.
McClintock was the guy sewing the sails.
Yep.
I think more than one person talked to him too.
Sure.
So I'll say when the sergeant comes back, he leads you in. Yeah, they'll see you. Just making sure everything was okay. They're in holding cell 12. Just right through there, go down the long hallway. Can't miss them. They're a pretty motley group.
That sounds accurate.
The inside is a bit smelly, but as you guys are about to go in that direction, there is a familiar smiling individual talking to two of the guards. And she stops talking to them to get up. Well, maybe they'll have better luck than me. As Salinas walks over to the two of you.
What are you doing here?
Well, after what's been going on, I had to come back. Here, I think you should keep this. She pulls out a familiar statue.
You still have it.
I
Yes.
do.
She might be dead.
Not a major loss then.
We weren't trying. It wasn't intentional. But the guy she was with was not a good guy. Neither was the other guy she was with. I mean, she has really poor taste in men. Like, put the
One might
statue in
even
that.
say that the men have tasted her.
One did. Yeah, he was unfortunate.
I had somebody examine the statue while I was here.
Oh, really?
What'd you learn?
Yeah. Do you know a gnome that goes by the name of Sibo?
We do.
I had her take a look at it. I was told that she was the best when it came to this.
When did you see her?
Oh, I don't know, maybe a week or so ago, before things went, as they like to say around here, tits up.
Well, the tits exploded. I mean,
Earthen. I know you're not used to our culture, but that's just a saying. It's not meant to be taken much further than allowing it to be a saying.
just telling you, there's mountains called Tetons, and it's all these words for tits. So the tits exploded. I was being literal. I understood
Salinas
what you're
purposely
saying.
looks away from Earthen to focus on Xanath. So, anyways, now that the adults are speaking, she said it was an anchor totem,
An anchor totem.
something that familiars carry with them. Familiars that are linked to vampires.
So she is a familiar. Is that what Sibo
That
said?
is what Sibo said, yeah.
That
What
would.
does this mean to you?
We've seen her with Mason, a man we believe to be a vampire,
Very strongly.
and he seemed to be feeding on her and on Mithra. the
Well, that's
frog.
why I went to go see Sibo. She has friends that are Dampiers. Not true vampire, but the walking kind. The kind that are allowed to walk in the day.
The friendly ones.
I
He
think
looks
that
like
depends
he is
on what side of the street you're on, but maybe.
Oh, they're friendly to us.
Well, fair.
So she may have already known Mason. I think we had assumed that she was being dragged along as a captive.
Watch out.
Well, I mean, he was feeding off of her. But yeah.
Well,
What?
I think she was still bound to Devon.
To Devon?
Well,
Who
are you
was
here to
Devon-
see her
who
old
was-
crew by
Wait,
chance?
wait. Who was Devon serving? Before we get to that.
Was Devon serving? I don't know. My understanding was they were both betrothed to each other.
Fair. But Devon killed Puck.
He seemed to serve.
And he said he was serving someone. Or he said something about, I did it, master, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Connected to something, but I couldn't tell you. Don't know.
Would like to roll inside.
Sure. You can give me an insight check.
Man, I haven't rolled over 10 all night.
Brutal.
But I have great bonuses now. But so that's 21.
21?
Yeah.
Just seems genuine. Seems like this is part of the conversation that she's being genuine about. I mean, she's appreciative of the fact that the gaps seem to be filling in. You just get the feeling that she's believes that something about Devon and the captain is more reticent. Something about their relationship was definitely key to all this.
Do you know any more about Feldamina, who sent us on this? What's she up to right now? I mean, you went back towards Nicodranas, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't make it.
Mm-mm.
So you mean Chisels still thinks that? Oh. Did you at least send word?
We called her back like 5 days ago.
I know.
I sent proper notification out to those I needed to send to. That
Okay.
was handled.
Okay. All right. I mean, I was trying to do a favor for the big ogre that didn't kill me.
I assure you, he's grateful. Very grateful.
Anyway, the crew, yes, that's where we're headed.
You mind if I join you?
You want to stay back? I mean, you can
I just want to.
I mean,
Watch
remember
how
the
they-
chaos at the end of that thing, and you were supposed to be the sacrifice, and maybe
I
if they
think
saw
all
you,
very much. I think they're all very much aware that they were taken on a bit of a ride. I would like to just to watch how they react once the two of you begin to question.
yeah. So I mean, but stay out of sight. I don't care if you join us, but stay out of sight, at least until we give the signal.
I mean, there's only 3 of them left, unfortunately.
What?
What happened to the rest of them?
Don't know. Scattered. Could be hiding.
Who is it?
I believe the little goblin Snippets, Alexander, and then Philip of the Watch.
Well, Philip's not going to be happy that Winter's not with us.
I think it was Alexander she was flirting with.
She had
Well,
a
I mean,
game.
It might have been
yes.
both.
That is
It
true.
was both.
Because she
Philip was the
finagled
one.
him into letting her into his chambers,
Yeah,
cover
oh,
up her own activity that she was involved in.
but she was also flirting with Philip to learn about other stuff, and
Yep.
yeah, yep.
But lead the way. I'll follow
Okay,
behind.
all right. You said number 12.
Yeah, which is the
Yeah.
last holding cell in the very back.
Can I?
And you can see
I was
3
saying, can I
fig-
roll perception as we're walking back there,
Sure,
just to kind
yeah.
of get a look around?
Yeah.
If anyone's
Cast enhance ability for wisdom on me and Earthen.
Okay.
wow, that's gonna be awesome.
I hope
I've
so.
I've bonuses on wisdom checks, I think so. So enhance ability is
That's advantage
Advantage?
on wisdom checks, yeah.
okay. Well,
So it would be
that's-
like insight.
yeah. Well, with my perception, that's a 28.
Okay. There are a collection of assorted people here. A lot of higher ranking gnomes that would be involved in the watch and the guard that would be involved in gnome works. Some of the professors and others that were kind of, whether they knew the truth or not, that's being sorted out.
The
One
with the
particular-
spider legs,
What's that?
spider legs professor there.
No, haven't seen her yet.
Okay.
But there's one cell filled with 4 very drunk, smelly tabaxi.
Hey, you guys.
One of the tabaxi lifts its head, opens one eye to stare at you. What the fuck you want, man?
Oh, come on! Don't you greet the greatest bard you ever heard a little nicer? Your
One
buddy,
of the other tabaxi wakes up, opens its eye, looks at the campaign, looks at Earthen, shrugs its shoulders.
you spilled the death punch on me, burned my face, and all that shit. You don't
They
remember
both
that?
pass out, go back to sleep. Hey, don't be talking to those tabaxi. Just move on.
They have a friend looking for them. All right.
They have lots of friends looking for them.
Not that kind. Not that kind. Better, good friends.
You guys get to the end of the hall. Selena's kind of hangs out in the background as you kind of lean in to look in at three sullen-looking individuals. Philip, kind of over on a stool in the corner, looks up to see just the two of you, not really paying attention to Selena's back behind you in the shadows. He gets a weird smile on his face. Alexander, look who's here. Snippets comes out of the corner, and then there's Alexander, like, facing out the window of the cell to turn around. Well, the troublesome prodigals return. I knew you guys were trouble the minute we let you on that ship.
Well, you're
I tried to tell her.
I think we were all taken for a ride, weren't we?
He just glances over. Snippets. I don't really care. I just like pissing off the spot. That was fun.
We need him back.
You want to?
I mean, if he ever knew the truth about what I really did with the flour for the bread, he'd probably fucking kill me. God. Makes great body powder. You know, you put it on your body and it gets rid of the wet.
We can arrange that, Snippets.
Oh, he's not dead? I just assumed he'd be dead by now.
No. Almost a few times.
Oh, okay. Alexander. So what do you guys want? What do you want from us?
Don't want anything from you. Wanted to know
why are you here?
Want to know if you wanted out of this cell.
Snippets gets up and looks over at Philip. Philip kind of they both eagerly look at Alexander. What do you mean? There's no way you're going to trust us.
Why shouldn't I?
Alexander looks at the two of them. Well, if it's true you think we're all taken for a ride, then maybe we're not that good.
Well, I dare say the captain may not be much longer for this world if she's still around.
What do you
Unfortunately. She wound up in the company of someone we suspect is a vampire. The last time we saw her, she was rather frail. A couple of puncture wounds. Her betrothed was there as well. You know, he was back in human form, no longer a bullywog. He also tried to kill Puck.
Tried. Succeeded.
You got better.
I got better. Alexander just kind of like leans back against the wall, kind of looks at you. Huh. Well, that explains why the crate was stolen.
Yeah.
Captain went to go track down where she thought the crate was taken. She left word that she got in contact with the fellow that said that he could help her.
Yeah, that might be the guy, the asshole that
we've been waiting for her to get back.
Down. You'll be waiting a lot longer if you're gonna go down that route, or hear me out. We need to traverse the veil.
You guys are still gonna.
Not for that. I mean.
So maybe this is an opportunity for me to earn a little trust. All of it was bullshit.
You've been through the veil.
No, I haven't.
Where did the painting come from?
No idea. Captain always disembarked, got on the whale, went into the veil. 2 days, 3 days later, she'd come back out. She'd have items or things. The one time, she came out with a bullywog. Boats don't go in there, mate. They just simply don't. I don't care what you've heard. It's all bullshit.
Well, I appreciate your honesty. I didn't.
You gotta understand, that idiot was paying us a lot of money to tell her that we were trying to go there.
Oh, I know. We got paid a lot of money to be told to go there.
Can we do like an insight check on Alexander right now?
Sure, if you want.
Okay. It's a 28.
Yeah, he's being honest.
Okay.
Being very honest. He's basically intrigued by what Earthen has to offer getting out of the cell. And he's now at the point where honesty is going to get him out of here.
Mm.
All that aside, we have heard of certain devices that can be crafted, applied to the bow of a ship, and allow it to somewhat safely traverse the veil. I know of this because it was told to me by someone who did it thousands, or was it 1,000 years ago? 100? How many years ago was that? I don't remember how many. How many years ago was that?
I can't remember who told us.
Devon told us about it before he.
Oh, yeah, like 100 years ago, right? Or that, I can't remember.
He would have been over 100 years ago. Yeah, I think it was 100 years ago. The way
So
they
you're
traversed
saying you
them-
took the word of the person that killed your friend.
I'm saying I've seen a lot of strange things, and I've seen a lot of corroborating evidence with the materials at hand that could create, if his phrasing was true, the kind of device that could facilitate this process.
Yeah, Alexander cracks his knuckles, walks over to the bars to lean on them. You sound like you got religion, Earthen.
Ha! Not religion. Faith in people. Faith in people like you, Alexander.
So you're going to try to get through the veil, are you?
Oh, we're not going to try.
Oh, then you're staying here?
Oh, we're going through the veil. There's no try to it.
Sounds like my small uncle that used to tell me that. There is
Yeah.
no try, there's only do. And if you
I
don't
think,
do it, and you do a lot of do-do, try again.
Were you a baby when he said that?
I don't know. My uncle went by the name of Voda. He was a weird dude.
Sounds like a wise man.
Wise ass. Well, so if we sign up to go with you, is that how we get out of here?
Yeah.
Do you want me to track down the rest of the crew then?
Who else is still around?
Well, I'm sure they scattered to the winds. I'm sure they're hiding. I could try to find them. When was your plan for leaving?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Well, you better get me out of here today. I've got to spend some coin and some time. Go figure out where they are. If I know them, they're probably hiding out in the entertainment district. A lot more crime you can get away with down there. People to hide you.
Well, Snippets, you're coming too, I hope, right?
Yeah.
You know, we actually already have a chef, so I'm not sure if we need Snippets to come along. If you wanted to stay behind Snippets, because I think it's going to be pretty dangerous.
I didn't say he needs to cook. We can
Pay
keep him out of
double
the
to
kitchen.
stay.
Snippets, what else can you do besides use the shit bucket for soup?
He's like wiping the snot off his nose, wipes it on his shirt. I could do food prep.
No.
Oh. I could keep the latrines clean.
Okay. You have a new job. Stay away from the kitchen,
Oh, okay.
but keep the latrines clean.
I will endeavor to persevere. Yeah.
I do not think those words mean what you think those words mean.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I need you guys to know, like, I know I'm like a couple of miles away, probably. There's like an involuntary shudder just running up.
It's that ringing in your ear you get when you're convinced someone's talking about you.
Yeah, like full ball brush tail while they're meditating, just like what?
Philip,
Yeah.
you know, Winter disappeared into the Fae for a moment. I don't know if she'll be back, but you're still more than welcome to join.
Yeah, I'm a sailor. Do what I gotta do to, be a sailor. Look, I don't know about what Alexander thinks or the others all think. If the captain was being a shite based on what she was doing to us, I'm not inclined to disagree with you.
I'm going to pull out the statue and show Alexander.
I remember that thing. She kept it in her quarters, never far from her.
Yep. It's been far from her for a while now. We stole it when we stole it when we escaped the boat.
Yeah, she was pretty angry that day.
I thought she would be. Haven't quite figured out how this thing works, but we did find out that it's a familiar. It's an anchor totem for a familiar.
I don't know what that is.
Has something to do with vampires.
Have you tried breaking it?
Not yet.
Is that a plan?
Might be. Would like to know where she is before we do it. The good captain was a good captain. The other captain was...
I think the other captain was her real self.
Well, you certainly seemed head over heels for the woman.
Yeah.
Is that a joke too?
I don't know if that's so important right now. It is what it is.
You're a good man, Alexander. Let's get you out of here. Guard.
Sergeant comes walking down the hallway. Yeah, what's up?
I'll be taking these 3.
Oh, just like that there, your lordship.
Yes, just like that there, my lordship.
Yeah, you'll have to get some countersigned orders for that, mate. The vassal...
I don't need the countersigned orders.
Yes, you do need the countersigned orders. Are you going to cast a spell?
Sure.
I
think we can...
Or...
We will get the consents that we
You're
need.
like, you see Earthen pull out a spell, like, fuck this guy. This guy.
reaching for my vial.
Yeah.
You know, friend.
Well,
countersigned orders take so long to get. I have to go up there, I have to get the chain, and
either
then
way, I get paid.
once I bring it down, then you got to go back and take it up and officiate it, sign it, get it, come back down, sign it again, go back upstairs. You look like you're pretty tired. It's probably close to the end of your shift. You could just let these guys go. I'm taking them into the Vale. So,
no, but you know what? You come back with those orders, and I'll be more than happy to let them out.
Lou, wondering if Earthen remembers he's traveling with a somewhat reformed thief who's good at, who has a forgery kit that they're proficient at. Lou, not metagaming.
Are you being Butters?
Nowhere near.
I'll send a message to Pike and say, we need the men from the Kindred Spirit released. If you could send orders to assist us, we'd appreciate it.
Unfortunately, she's not within 120 feet of you.
Oh no, sending is.
You're doing sending.
Yeah.
Message is the other one.
I thought you were doing message. Send a message, which is probably confusing.
I'm going to message a send.
Yes.
Oh well, sorry to hear you're having problems. I'll send someone over right away.
I can't reply.
Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock.
Yeah, you guys linger for about 15 minutes.
Hey, asshole! I think you're about to find out that we're taking these 3 guys.
Huh? He looks over his shoulder. One of the other guards is holding up a form. Oh, well, that was quick. Sure.
Oh, magic.
Takes out his key.
That was cool.
Unlocks it. Undoes the cage. Well, they're all your problem now.
How much less time would this have taken if you just trusted me and gave me the... God.
I'm so salty.
Fucking bods. And the sergeant just goes walking away. And then stops and turns. They're your problem now, your lordship. It just goes back to standing out front. Alexander kind of nudges Snippets out and waits for Alexander. Well, I got no coin. You want me to track down a crew? I'm going to need some coin. If you trust me, this is where we start.
I'm going to take out the bag of gems. I forgot who we picked that up off of.
One of the many corpses of dead people you've left behind in your wake.
Hey now. You didn't leave a lot of corpses. Some of them were just evaporated, okay?
That was stuff I stole from the cabin of the other ship.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bag of gems. So, yeah, I'm just going to hand him the bag of gems.
All right, I can find him with this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tug out a piece of his hair and be like, "We'll be able to see you."
You could just asked. Okay.
Zach,
Great
there's
start.
not
Great
much
start.
there.
Like a big old bald patch on his green head.
No, just a couple pieces.
Helm wills it. You like scalp him.
So
You like do like a bad, you know how they pick up the scalp from like a bad plugs from bad hair plugs. You're like,
yeah,
they can find you, you bastard.
so yeah, that bag of gems is worth around 600 gold. So it should be more than enough.
All right, come on, Snippets. Come on, Alexander. Let's go. Get to work. And they kind of walk off down the hallway. Salinas comes out of the shadows like no one even saw that she was there. That was interesting.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'll keep an eye on him for you, if you get my meaning.
I appreciate it. You're coming
Hey.
with us, right?
Oh,
I mean, not
wouldn't
right
miss,
now.
I wouldn't miss getting to that island for nothing. I have a funny feeling we're all going to be in for an interesting trip. And you watch as she kind of just saunters down and gradually begins to follow where they are. And then she slips out as well.
That's why I didn't want her seen. You never know. Also, she's really, really good at that.
She's sneaky as hell.
Yep.
Two
And
of
good
you-
with pistol.
Yeah, the two of you exit the bastion
Mhm.
just in time to see a whistling puck coming across the harbor's walk with punch in tow. And of course, coming down the platform after having a nice meditative afternoon or mid-morning post-breakfast, you can see Spot coming down into the harbor ward as well. We'll say that you guys gather here for a moment to discuss what you want to do with the rest of your day.
Hey, I think I found your buddies.
Ooh. Okay.
And Earthen points towards the jail.
I just
I just point back behind me to the bastion. Yeah.
I'm just gonna scamper off there.
Yeah, he goes, oh, just goes like
Meet you
kitty to a
on the
flame.
drive.
Don't forget your papers.
Oh, we're good. But yeah, just yell at them. I'll meet them back at Bavina's bar tonight or something like that.
Okay. So while Spot is posting bail and the rest of you discuss what you want to do for the rest of the day, that's going to be a good place for us to stop because I wanted to take a moment to talk about your level up tonight and see how we're doing. Everyone else, thanks for hanging out. I'm going to talk to these folks for a little bit afterwards. Don't forget to be safe, be kind, and we'll be back here next Sunday, I believe, correct? Everyone good for next Sunday per our earlier conversation with a possibility that Spot may be dialing in from Washington, D.C. We'll see how that goes. So, good night, everyone. Be safe, be kind.
In the background spot.
Yeah, I want to see Chicago behind Zenith and D.C. behind Spot.
He lives in Virginia. I don't think I can do that.
By the way, you're pretty tall up in the towers, right, Alexa?
Yeah.
That was a loud motorcycle.
Oh, it was super loud today. I don't know what was going on.
Everyone else, be kind, be safe. Don't forget to play a game. We will see you Sunday next week. Bye, everybody. One of these days, I'll be on that button, so I'm not looking for that button.
Why don't you just like wire the button into like an easy button on your desk and you could be like, bam.
I would, but that just brings me staplers from Staples.